Well, hello there. Welcome to campus. I had a day off today and the weather was so nice. It feels like winter is about to pass and cannot wait for that moment to happen. But today does feel like a sort of like mid-spring type of day. Had to come up here. I came up to campus so that I could use a classroom, have a giant whiteboard, and be able to throw ideas up on the board because the way that I work is I really do want to have a way to like write a question on the board and then sort of stare at it and kind of mind map my way around the question and figure out what I want to do with that. And it's very difficult to do that at home where I don't have a whiteboard. So I tend to prefer to have a giant space where I can work. And so here I am up at University of Buffalo in a classroom. If you don't know who I am, my name's Colton Woods. I'm the creator of Strange Trails, a full cast audio drama in the style of Serial. The first season is available for free on any podcast platform if you want to listen to it right now. This channel is me working toward making season 2 of the podcast and writing the novelizations of each of the successive seasons. Currently, I'm planning out season 6 of the podcast. And yes, that is way, way, way down the road from anything that's about to be coming out anytime soon. But if I can't release stuff right now, might as well continue working forward with the story. So here I am, finally diving in to the actual planning stages of season 6. I've been waiting for this forever, it feels like, literally years since I came up with the idea of what season 6 was going to be. And then in the last video, I just got all my templates figured out. Everything is like placed where I kind of want it to be and marked in a way where I can tell what it's going to be, like whether it is a scene that is actually part of the show and something including our characters, or if it's just something that they're going to hear about or talk about if that happens off screen. So now I get to actually work out what the scenes are that will be in the show. And it's a big day. It's a big time. We've got about 4 months set aside out of this year to work on planning out season 6. And with the rate that things were going, it does feel like I might not need all of those 4 months, but I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. In my mind, I've got until the end of June to get this stuff settled before I have to start writing to stay on track. I came out to UB today hoping that because it's a weekend, I would be able to just kind of find a classroom. Like normally on weeknights when I come up, it's pretty empty in the classrooms after, around 6 p.m. And you can kind of just pick wherever you want to go and use that. I've never had so much trouble finding a classroom. It's 1:30 right now in the afternoon on a Saturday, and there are open house tour groups all over the campus. There's some sort of like science presentation thing at the other end of campus, like giant poster boards, everybody's presenting their little thing. Like it's popping here right now. Like the hallways are crowded right now. So I've never seen campus this full on a weekend. I don't know what's going on here. I was like, because those two things are not enough to make the entire campus so full. So regardless, I did manage to find a basement where nobody was using the classroom. The only downside is that this classroom doesn't have a fucking whiteboard. I only bring whiteboard markers because I've always been able to use those here. This classroom has a chalkboard. So I got lucky. There are 2 pieces of chalk in here, so I'll at least have that to be able to use, but I guess I'm using a chalkboard today. We're going old-fashioned. So yeah, let's dive into it. I gotta figure out what I want to focus on today and then just kind of make some progress on whatever that is. It's 4:24 right now. It's been about 3 hours. I actually had to erase the board and start fresh because there was so much stuff on it. But here we are 3 hours later. I have officially figured out one scene, which was the goal for today, so that's great. And it is a very heavy main mystery scene. So I'm excited about that because this is something that I've been working toward, trying to focus on as much as possible because I want to make sure that this season has a very strong hook, a very strong mystery, and I'm feeling good about it. It's coming together very piece by piece. There was a point where I had like 12 different questions written on the board, which is not the normal way that I do things, but I had 12 questions written on the board because everything was just like, okay, so if I figure out this piece, in order to do this properly, I'm going to also need to have this piece figured out because that's going to explain this part. But there is this other piece down here that I'm going to have to like somehow get these two things in sync so that it works to make this piece happen. And oh my God, and I don't even know if there's something over here, but I don't know what it is exactly that I'm looking for, but I'm missing something right now. And I know that there's a vibe that I'm missing in order for this to work. It sort of feels like when you're trying to like close the flaps on a box and you kind of need to get them all like lined up exactly right so that they can just close together. Like I sort of need to have all these answers at the same time in order for it to come together, because having just one at a time doesn't do me any good. I need to have kind of everything. I don't think I closed the box yet, and if I did, I don't think I closed it right. So I'll have to circle back, but I feel at least the scene that I got today is like at the very least a good start. At least there's that. We'll see where things go from here. I think I'm going to head back home now. Okay, so pause. I'm going to interrupt myself here because I think what I was trying to say was basically the scene that I made today, the scene that I came up with today feels like fine as a scene, but I know that it's like in the grand scheme of things, it's not really doing what I need it to do right now. But I think my point is that I'm directionally correct with what I decided today. I thought of a whole bunch of stuff for how I thought that this investigation was going to go, where it was like, oh, these people, are involved. What is their link? All that stuff. And then I have to figure out what the link is between them and all that stuff. And as I was going through, I was like, I don't like that. I don't really feel like there is a good link between these two characters. It doesn't really make sense. So what if I flip it on its head, And then in doing that, it changed the whole outcome of how things play out and why things happen to certain characters and whatever. And in doing that, I think that I am directionally correct. I think that was the right move to make, but I have not figured out the specifics of it. I haven't figured out what, episodes these new scenes will have to happen in where these realizations are coming up. It's just going to be a very different type of investigation than I went in expecting, and that's great. I actually prefer that because this was going to be pretty straightforward as it was. I'm glad that I'm adding some new wrinkles and whatever way that ends up manifesting in the final plot. But right now, I don't feel like I made much progress today. Like I'm kind of leaving feeling like I wasted my time, even though I know that I didn't. I know that I laid groundwork for me to build off later on. It just, in the moment, feels like a little disappointing, to be honest. Like it feels like, why didn't I, it's so early in the planning process, I should be able to come up with a new scene like that. Like, it's not like I'm trying to fit things together. But actually, in planning, it's generally kind of the opposite of how you would expect it to be. Like, you would expect, early on, it's really easy to come up with stuff, and then it gets harder as you have to, you're running out of space. It's kind of the opposite in my case, because right now, anything can happen. Anything can happen, and I have to actually figure out what that anything is. And then at the end, most of the dots are there. I'm just drawing a line between them. So, it's actually, in my case, easier to do this part than it is to do the starting things out with really not much to go on. And I say that knowing that the template is overloaded with stuff to go off. I know, but as far as the central mystery, almost none of that is in the template. There's really not much that I had put in my big long note for the template. So this is new stuff that I'm coming up with right now. And yeah, I guess I'm leaving feeling a little disappointed, but I know that I did good work for stuff that will come later on in the season. And as far as when I'm planning out the rest of the mystery and stuff, and maybe when I'm meeting with Jocelyn and we can kind of talk things through, potentially if that happens, things will fit into place a lot better. This is me starting to just narrow the paths down so that I can start to find the dots that I'm going to have to connect later on. That's what I did today. And I have to tell myself I feel good about it, even though I don't actually feel good about it, because I don't feel like I accomplished as much as I wanted to. It's a day off, and I drove all the way up here. I feel like I should have, done more, but I haven't, and that's okay. That's okay. I did one scene, which was the actual bare minimum. That is the actual baseline goal, and I met that. So there we go. Because I made that clip, and, it was like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, why did I say all those things as if I was like sure about myself and feeling like really good about all this, because I didn't. So the more that I thought about it, the more I was like, no, let's set the record straight. So here we are. Because I just kept feeling like I did that clip saying like things were good, as if things were good, but they're like, I don't actually feel good about this, and I think it's okay to like discuss that. Like this season, I'm going in knowing it's going to be a challenge, and so I should expect to have challenging days. And today was definitely a challenging day. So we'll continue. Anyway, I'll see you when I am recording another clip. So it's about midnight.
Hey. Sleepy Bo Beepy.
So this is Jocelyn, if you
Hey.
don't remember. We just spent the past like 4 hours talking through one single thread of season 6 of Strange Trials. And I feel like we made so much progress, but also there's still so much left to go. And so it's just kind
It's
of
a crazy,
intricate
story. Like,
Yes.
I thought my story was complicated, but his the nothing compared
I did think that when we did your story that I was like making it like intricate, but just like looking at this, I'm like, nope. We went like easy mode with your story.
It's still a great story.
It's still a great story, but like as far as like the level
write
of
this
complexity is just
There's
off the
still
charts.
like a ton of storylines though, which is crazy. Like there's
her
so
story,
many
yeah.
there's so many subplots, so many things happening, but it's like this is another level.
We took.
And I'm like, you have to write all this.
I do have to write it. I'm excited to write all this. It was literally a situation that I think I was talking about in a previous clip, maybe even earlier in this video. I don't remember. But there are times where you take a character who is like so tangential and such like a background character to a story, and then just by trying to be like, okay, so what's their deal? What are they up to? You end up with just this. Like, this is characters that are not actually, like, we went in being like, they're just background, they did something off screen, and you know, it kind of maybe set things into motion, but they're not important to the story, and now they're going to be like
key characters.
like pretty recurring, at least throughout the season. Like, you will have to hear from them multiple times because there's just a lot of stuff that they have done, and the only way to actually learn about all of it is to see them in all these different situations and circumstances that you wouldn't know. But yeah, so we made a lot of progress on that, and we only got interrupted one time tonight.
Which is pretty crazy because last week it was.
I can't show the tarot card that I pulled because that would be a spoiler, but
Is an oracle deck card.
an oracle card.
Yeah, an oracle card.
Okay. I'll just say it was very relevant to this specific story.
I do like tarot and oracle readings and stuff. And
Yeah, I was fully prepared when she was talking about this to be like, oh, great. Like when she like drew the card, but she drew the card and I was just like, whoa, hey, it kind of looks like that thing. And then we started reading
the very
book.
first word, he was like, what? He was like, that's what I'm writing about.
So yeah, someday when season 6 is out, I'll share a picture of the card that I drew. But like, my God,
I was vindicated.
I don't think like it could not have been more relevant to this specific story. It's not even
trying
like
to explain to you that because I had him like shuffle the deck for a while, and I was like, think about your question. He's like, I don't really have a question. I was like, okay, then just be like, what do I need to learn today, or like, what do I need to hear today, and like think about that as you're shuffling. And that's like something I learned in learning like tarot practice and stuff, of just like finding a way to imbibe the person's energy. You don't always have to do that. There are some readers who you don't ever touch the cards and they do it completely for you. But I think there's a lot of power. I really believe in like co-collaborative reading, and that there's like a lot of meaning and stuff that the person brings in like what they notice. And I feel like before jumping into like, this is what this card is about, which can like automatically send you in a particular place, there's power in letting you be like, what does this bring up for you? Like, what is coming to mind?
Picture?
And I think just like following that.
It was very, It was very fascinating. I will say, I don't think we ended up using anything that we got from that. Like we kind of, but it did kind of put us on a track where we were like, okay, let's see what that could
One part
lead
of it
to.
we didn't, but I won't say anything on here.
I actually don't remember what that part was. So yeah,
There is a
well,
part.
but yeah, it was very fascinating, and I went in not expecting much from it, but I'm glad we did it. Yeah, so I think it's time for bed. So
Yeah, I'm very sleepy.
I'm gonna go drive home.
At the very end, he was like asking complicated questions. He was like, okay, like, and then what should this be? And then he just looked at me, he's like, are you good? I was just like, what?
She was like nodding off. So yeah, that's how you can tell it's time. So we're gonna call it here, and
Bye.
we'll see when we get to do this again.
When we see ya.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Well, hello there. It's Friday, March 20th. It's been a while since I've made a clip, since I've done any real work on this, just because of the way my work schedule has worked out. Sorry, I'm talking quietly. I am in another classroom. I'm up at UB. Problem is, the door to this classroom does not shut all the way. So I passed 3 separate people on the floor who were up here with me on the way in. So I don't know why, but my worst fear is somebody walking in on me recording a video. So I'm gonna be quiet until, I don't know, it's 3:30, so maybe in like an hour or so they'll probably have gone home or whatever. But I'm ready to really dive in. I wasn't even sure I was gonna come up today because Jocelyn can't hang out today, and normally I'd only come up here if I'm gonna be working on stuff with her. But I feel like I really, really need the whiteboard, and I don't have a whiteboard at home that I can use. Like, I have one, but it's not mounted on the wall or anything, so I can't really use it right now. So in its absence, I'm here ready to use this whiteboard. Here, let me show you. Look how big this is. It's like I could write for days on this thing. And what I've discovered about myself is that whatever size canvas I have to work with, I will fill that shit. So the bigger that I have, which as far as I know, this is the biggest whiteboard that I've found on campus so far, I'm gonna fill this, okay? So even if I'm not in the mood to do ideas or whatever, even though I'm kind of always in the mood to do ideas, but even if I'm not like specifically in that mood, this will be covered in words at some point, assuming nobody walks in on me. I don't know why that is like the absolute worst possible scenario to me, is somebody walking in as I'm writing my story ideas on the whiteboard. I don't know why that would be so embarrassing to me when I feel confident about my stories. I feel good about them. But I guess at the idea stage, it's like, I don't know if it's going to come together, so it's just an idea. So it's kind of hard to defend in the moment, but it's just a story, and I just feel very self-conscious about it right now. But when it's all together and it's all written, then I'll feel confident about it. I'll feel good about it. Yeah, so I think I'm going to get to writing, or get to planning at the very least, and I'll check in a little bit. Okay. Here we are. It is, oh my God, it's 7:20. It has been like 4 hours of me in this room by myself, pacing around, trying to figure this stuff out. I feel like I made a lot of progress. I did manage to figure out 2 scenes. They both have to do with the main mystery, which is great because I have been really nervous going into this season for some reason that I wasn't going to have a very strong main mystery, and so it's been a major focus of mine to make sure that I do have like a good mystery, because when I think of how the seasons that I've done recently go for Strange Trails, season 1 is the only season I can think of where every single episode fully focuses on the main central mystery. Every single episode of season 1 of Strange Trails is about figuring out who the fuck the Shadow Man is, and there are some tangential scenes in there that show up and then eventually kind of tie into the ending, but those are like few and far between. Starting even like as early as season 2, the main mystery of the season just immediately takes a back seat and is just sort of like left on like a simmer for most of the season. And there will always be like a scene or two per episode, but it's never like the focus of the season. And coming into this season, which I know is going to be very politics heavy, I'm afraid that the season's going to just feel like it's about politics, and there's like the mystery is just like sprinkled in there as like seasoning, and that's not what I'm looking for. I kind of want it to be the opposite way. So I am heavily focused right now on making sure that there are at least 2 or 3 scenes per episode that are going to be about the main story. Now, I am not at that point yet, so I can't say that that's like how it'll actually settle, but that's the goal for me right now, is to make sure that there's like enough action happening on multiple different fronts for this main mystery in each episode that it is like verifiably like that is the focus of the season, and it's not just me being like, oh yeah, that's in there, but we're also talking about this, and we're talking about that, and we're talking about this other thing. Because I mean, you saw the plot grid, of the different plots that I have. It's huge. It's fucking huge. So I am afraid that all those things are going to distract from this thing, and rather than being like, supplemental to it. And that's kind of the balance that I'm trying to find right now. And I think the best way to do that is to just have just only focus on the main mystery right now, and then go back afterward and see how many scenes are left to fill in, and fill them in with those like subplot things, so that those are treated more as, the flavor rather than the focus. So that's the plan. I think I can do it as long as I'm being conscious about it. I think I can do it. The issue is if I ever like lose focus on that and start to find these like subplots and go, oh my god, this would be really cool to talk about, because that's been happening. So I just need to kind of back off of those a little bit, not like cut them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to hopefully not have them be the focus of the season. Because this, again, you saw the plot grid, you saw the way that the colored template looks, where like half the things are just stuff that's going to be mentioned, and it's not even like actually happening in the show. I've never had a season like that before, where I have so many scenes that are like, yeah, this has to be mentioned because it's kind of happening outside the investigation, but we're never going to actually see it happen in the show. So I don't even know how I'm going to handle that type of stuff. Like, it's going to just be a lot of the characters talking about stuff, or maybe there's news reports included. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But all those things would absolutely pull away from the main story. And I want to be careful about not doing that. That's my point. That's what I'm getting at. Anyway, so here I am 4 hours later, made a little bit of progress on the main storyline, which is great. My goal today was 2 scenes. I did 2 scenes, and then I got stuck. There's a scene earlier in the season that I need to have filled in, where one character figures something out about whatever it is they're dealing with, and then later on, 2 episodes later, they interview somebody who dealt with that thing, and their story doesn't gel with what they learned in this previous episode. So then they can start to suspect something is going on with this other character. So you're not telling us all the details here. That's what I want. Problem is, I can't figure out what they learn in this episode. So I have spent the past hour and a half just focused on that one question, and I came up with this many answers. Actually, no, I did come up with one answer, but I'm not happy with it because it's not enough, and it doesn't really actually solve my issue. But this is tough. This is some tough stuff right now. I have to, because it's early in the season, so it can't be like a huge, actual, real, substantial answer to the thing. It still has to be like, yeah, there's definitely some mystery left here. But I do want it to be something solid enough where people are like, okay, we're getting something. Even though we're, kind of early in the season, we're already starting to get some facts. I haven't come up with what those facts are yet. That's the issue. And I was not able to today. Now, I've, next time I'm up here and I'm able to bounce ideas off Jocelyn, or maybe we'll fucking crush it and we'll just get it figured out right away. But on my own, I am struggling with that right now. That's been the big struggle of the day, is that one question. What could they learn earlier on that can be refuted or lead to undermining a story later on. Difficult stuff, but that's what I want to do. And I've sort of set my mind on that. So I'm going to stick with it until I figure out what it is. Like, I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, oh, I kind of want to do that type of thing, that type of story, but I can't come up with a good one. So I'll just cut it and I'll save it for a different season. I'm not going to do that. Like, that's just not how my mind works. Like, the second I'm like sort of set on an idea, I'm like, no, we're going to do this, and I'm going to brute force it if I have to. We will figure out what we can put in that slot to create a little bit of tension, a little bit of mystery. So eventually I'll get there. That's my point. Anyway, I think I got to end the video here because otherwise I don't know when I'm going to end the video. This is not as easy to break up as it was with like writing the novels and stuff, where it was just like each chapter could be a video. Here I have to kind of just cut it off because, like I said, like I warned you early on, planning these seasons out is not a quick thing for me. I cannot do that in the matter of days or even a couple weeks. Like, it takes me months to plan a season out. It's just very involved for me because they're so intricate, and that's like, I'm so like meticulous detail wise, because any question that I start to answer, which is the issue that I had, I mean, you'll notice on all the way on the right side, there's like a whole list of like stuff. Those are all questions. Like, I answered one thing somewhere in the middle over here, and it led to like, okay, but then why is that, and how is that, and when did that happen, and it led to a whole thing. I'm glad I did it, but that's what happens is like any question I start to answer leads to 30 more questions that I also have to answer. So it's kind of like just branching out and trying to winnow it down to a point where I actually have the story figured out. It's coming, but it's very slow. And I will get there eventually, but it's going to take a couple months. So I'm going to end the video here because I don't have any other good cutoff points. So I will see you in the next video, where I will continue doing more of what I'm doing right now. So I'll see you then.